on France's nuclear testing. So that testing took place, as you said, between 1960 and 1996 in Algeria, first of all, and then in French Polynesia. And for the very first time, a judicial report has established a possible link between that nuclear testing and cases of cancer due to radioactivity. Now, this is a big step towards recognizing a possible responsibility for the state in people being sick. Now, there are potentially 150,000 victims now from locals there, as well as French military personnel that were carrying out these tests. And there's a striking photo in Le Parisien that was taken in French Polynesia in 1968, where you see a French serviceman on a boat, and he's just wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and right behind him, there you see it, there's a big mushroom cloud from a test that's going on. Yeah. Now, inside Le Parisien has an exclusive interview with the man that carried out the judicial report, a certain Florent de Valter, who's a specialist in epidemics, who says that a lot of information is still classified, and he says he didn't have access to all the information he needed. Meanwhile, the government says they have nothing to hide. So two different sides of the story there. But Le Parisien does point out that there's still a lot of dangerous radioactive residue that's still in French Polynesia today.
Yeah, an incredible photo, isn't it? Now, back to French politics. Le Monde, they've got an interview with the French finance minister. This is Pierre Moscovici. Now, yesterday he spoke before Parliament about fiscal reform.
That's right. He comes back on the big challenges that are facing the government right now. And the big one that we keep talking about is PSA, Peugeot Citroën, and their decision to shut down a historic car-making plant north of Paris and to possibly lay off 8,000 workers. Moscovici says the government wants to make sure that PSA changes this plan. And as you said, he comes back on the government's fiscal reforms, which is being debated right now. And part of those reforms is to tax the super rich 75%. Now, Pierre Moscovici defends this and says that this is not a punishment for the super rich. It's actually a patriotic move on their part. And the communist newspaper, L'Humanité, is rubbing their hands at this news. They say that it's the first foothold in taxing France's super rich, and they say that this is very exciting news. They say it breaks away with Sarkozy's policy that tended to favor rich stockholders and France's wealthy citizens.
Okay, something else which is shocking France, if you like. It's the story which is in Libération today. This is the Mohamed Merah case. They've got a bit of an exclusive, haven't they?
That's right. They've got the dialogue that took place between Mohamed Merah, so the Toulouse scooter killer, as he was called, and a man who was from the police who was talking to him during a siege on his apartment in Toulouse. So just to remind you, back in March, Mohamed Merah went on a killing spree in several attacks. He killed several soldiers as well as several Jews, and he was killed in the siege on his apartment. So Libération has extracts from this 4-hour conversation. In fact, if you want to read the whole 4-hour conversation, they have it on their website. It's fascinating. And the fact that this conversation has come out has sparked quite a scandal. Already a couple days ago, TF1, a broadcaster here in France, broadcast several extracts that upset the victims' families. They said that this was a complete lack of respect for the victims. And they said that especially because the legal proceedings are still going on over the killings. But Libération defends their decision to publish these extracts of the conversation because they say it's not voyeurism or entertainment, but it's an important factual document that helps clear up this mysterious affair because there's so many questions that have been raised by this Mohamed Merah. For instance, why did the French Secret Service seem to have messed up so much? This seemed like a very amateurish operation on their case because he traveled all over the world. He went to Algeria, Syria, Palestine. It seemed like he was very open about the fact that he wanted to join a terrorist training camp. So how did he slip through the net? Libération says that this is proof that France really needs to reevaluate its secret service and hopes that the French socialist power will have the courage to do so.
And you mentioned Syria. Le Figaro's got a story about that.
That's right, Le Figaro. It says that civil war has reached Damascus, and in their editorial, they say that this is the critical moment. Bashar al-Assad's time is running out. And in their editorial, they say that if the international community, it's clear now, it can't get on the same page if they don't want to intervene militarily, at least they should start preparing themselves for the post-Assad era. And one thing that Le Figaro says is they should make sure that Syria doesn't become the breeding ground for hardline Islamists.
Florence, thank you very much. Florence Filmonneau with the French newspaper team on France 24. Here's the headlines then. Staying with Syria, in fact, a full